Chuck Norris once fought Superman. The loser had to wear his underwear on the outside. It's Saturday. I'm Acorn. Welcome back to Gen X and Millennial Memes December Rewind. The best clips from December 2025. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe, and share the videos with your family, friends, and social media. I'd also like to thank all of you who watched to the end of the show, as it really helps to support the channel, because that's something YouTube has really been hammering on. So much so that some of the other metrics don't really even matter that much anymore, as far as the algorithm is concerned at least. But with that said, let's get into today's show. Remember when it was actually worth getting up early on Saturday mornings? Yeah, couldn't sleep in too late, you'd miss most of them. Kids today will never know the joy of playing with a phone cord. The banana is no longer the food item that looks most phone-like. The Pop-Tart is. Sadly, it's actually true. And personally, I find that they're fairly uncomfortable to use, especially for longer calls. Do you remember when you had to step on a button on the floor in the car to switch between high and low beams? Yes, I do. I actually wish they never got rid of that feature. I think I liked that better than having it up on the steering column with your turn signals. You're 12, it's snowing and school is canceled. Choose your ride. Do any of you remember any kind of sled back in the day that come remotely to looking like number 2? Because I sure as heck don't. Imagine you hating me, and I'm just at home using my Garfield phone to call the crisis hotline. If you're using a Garfield phone, you should be feeling better already. Finding a new movie or TV show, but it's all about 80s nostalgia. Today, in 1987, your school served you this for lunch, and you were excited about it. Yeah, because it was the best lunch that they had, and a whole lot better than the lunches that schools has today from things that I've heard. If you watch Jaws backwards, it is a heartwarming story about a shark who gives arms and legs to disabled people. Well, that'd be one perspective. My intern was born in 2007. I have unread emails older than that. Oh, I guarantee you that I do. Bring me another Smurf. I thought that one there was a pretty good one. Have you ever wondered what Elmo would look like with no fur? Well, here you go. That's kind of disturbing, honestly. And the one on the bottom right, I think that probably really would look like him. My dad made this when his girlfriend won't pick a restaurant. Well, that is one of the most useful ways that I've seen a CNC repurposed for. I give it an 8 out of 10. Who remembers these chairs? Yeah, I certainly do. We never had any that was on the right side. My dad hated those type, but we always had the ones that's on the left there. Pretty certain that we even had that color at one time, but later on it was just different shades of green. I remember my dad would actually buy the rolls of the replacement material and would just redo the whole chair. It'd basically be like brand new again. When I was a kid, this was my curfew. Some of you never peeled the styrofoam off a 16-ounce glass Coke bottle, and it shows. Yeah, wood paneling never goes out of style, and I have another viewer-submitted image in here somewhere that proves this. I can't remember where I came across this video at, but could you just imagine what the reaction would be if this aired today?
Well? You're a police officer. I recognize the traditional accoutrements.
He was saying you'll have no trouble explaining it.
My friend is obviously Chinese. I see you've noticed the ears. They're actually easy to explain.
Perhaps the unfortunate accident I had as a child.
The unfortunate accident he had as a child. He caught his head in a mechanical rice picker. But fortunately, there was an American missionary living close by who was actually a skilled plastic surgeon in civilian life.
One day you're young, and the next you're sleeping like this. That is true sometimes. And yet, come that night, I'll probably have a very hard time sleeping at all. Let's be honest, watching childhood cartoons when you're an adult is really weird. Yeah, sometimes. Who else learned how to tell time on these clocks? Apparently they need to bring these back. I miss walking into my grandparents' house and smelling my grandma's cooking. Yeah, certainly do. Girls with their $300 of specific beauty products. Guys with the same bar of soap for their body, face, and hair. Fact check true. I'm getting stronger with age. I can now lift $100 worth of groceries with one hand. Sadly, that's very true. And on top of that, it might fit in one bag, maybe two. Who remembers when cereal gave out cool stuff? You wake up in your childhood bedroom at 10 years old with all of your current knowledge. What's your first move? Do the only thing that actually matters. Go hug your family and tell them how much they mean to you. When your elf wants to make new friends. Well, that would be one way. $87 worth of groceries in 1990. That's just sad, but it is true. Sure wish we could bring that back.
My luck, it had to look like his father.
Oh, hey, the little fellow was starved.
Yeah. Oh, good.
That was me. What was that?
I'll get it.
Warwick Drugs.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Hey, what is that?
Well, it's a formula the druggist has been working on to make the baby visible. I'm gonna try it.
Wait, you can't experiment on the baby.
Huh?
Let me try it first, and if it works on me, then we can give it to the baby.
Okay.
Here. Amazing, it works! Give it to the baby!
Oh.
What Legos do when we're not looking. Legos ain't nothing. Just throw some jacks down in the floor around the house. Like you guys have mentioned before, they're basically caltrops, just a little smaller. I think if you had enough of them though, you could probably still punch a hole in somebody's tire. Sometimes I'd like to drop my kids off in 1985 just to see how long they make it. Yeah, too bad there isn't a way to send the current younger generations back to the 80s and require them to spend at least 5 years there. There might be fewer of them returning, but at least the ones that made it back would be a lot better off for it. Me and my friends playing Oregon Trail during computer class in 3rd grade. Tyco's slot car tracks. I bought this with my first paycheck from McDonald's in 1990. I'd always wanted a slot car track, but never got one for Christmas. I added to the track with a loop, lap counter, high banked corkscrew, 2 more cars, and then airbrushed white lines onto the track. I did have a slot car track at one point, didn't have the loop-de-loop or anything in it. I think it might have had a counter, but it wasn't made anything like this one here. That's a lot better one. If you've witnessed 3 generations of sauce packets, you're old. I could be wrong, but it seems like there was another one that came before these. What do you guys remember? Action heroes in the 80s. Action heroes in 2025. Yeah, because, all of that is toxic masculinity. If they had a way, they would just erase all of those so they wouldn't exist anymore. Child abuse in 2025. Me after a quiet conversation with my mom in 1988. Well, it would at least be quiet on one end of the conversation after that. I'm not scared of ghosts, zombies, or vampires. I'm scared of people with no common sense. That is a fact check true. We are your local supplier of thingamajiggers, whatchamacallit, doohickeys, and doodads. Don't forget gizmos and doodlemafloppers. What other ones do you guys remember?
All right, folks, let's see the next item up for bid. It's D's nuts.
That moment when you realize that you are your family's Cousin Eddie. People think this chef is good, but he's got nothing on this man. After swimming, this used to hit so hard back in the day. Yeah, but they're doing it wrong. The chips goes on the sandwich, not just next to it. One of the funniest 80s films ever made. I'd have to agree. Nicknames for lazy coworkers. Cordless, only works for 2 hours. E.T., always wants to go home. Kit Kat, always taking a break. Muffler, always exhausted. Seaweed, just floats around all day. Sensor light, only works if someone walks past. Wheelbarrow, only works when pushed. Those are actually some pretty good ones. Heading out hunting. Heading home from hunting. How many of you guys went hunting this year? And if you did, what were you able to bring home? When your wife says, we should think of something nice to do with that little space above the door. Looks like a good plan to me. To the person that did this paint job on the back of this truck, thanks for messing with my mind. That is fairly impressive, actually. If you were born before 1992, which is about 90+% of the viewers on my channel, you are now older than Bruce Willis was in Die Hard. Today is the day you learn Mr. Feeney was the voice of Kit from Knight Rider. That is something I never realized. How many of you guys knew about this? Don't forget to wear your Cabbage Patch earmuffs. It's cold out there. Yeah, it certainly is. Glad to have a wood stove. Who remembers the smell of this? Who remembers how many kids ate that? How many of you guys ate glue paste? Or if you dared a friend and actually got them to eat it? So did anyone else go through a phase as a kid where you were genuinely concerned about the Bermuda Triangle? 6-year-old me was like, bro, why are we not solving this problem? They still haven't solved it. There's just so much other bad news today that it just got pushed way down the list somewhere. Shopping at Target used to be like...
Mr. Jones and Mr. Krempler were neighbors. They each had $3,000. With his money, Mr. Jones bought himself a $3,000 car. With his money, Mr. Krempler bought himself a new refrigerator, a new range, a new washer, a new dryer, a record player, 2 new television sets, and a brand new Volkswagen. Now Mr. Jones is faced with that age-old problem, keeping up with the Cramplers.
When your sober friend agrees to drive you to Taco Bell at 1 a.m. Judy clocks. We still use these. My class has been learning to read an analog clock all year. Well, that's good to hear. At least there's someone out there that's still teaching this. It's almost unbelievable how few of the younger generations can actually read an analog clock. And it's not like they don't exist anymore. You still see analog clocks a lot in stores, office buildings, and it used to be the only clocks you saw in schools. And of course, a lot of your wristwatches are still analog. But on the other hand, if the younger generations could actually just be able to read at their grade level would be an achievement because of today's so-called public education system. 1980s piracy. I finally got that song on the radio recorded perfectly. That was always an achievement. Only someone who lived through the 80s would understand this frustration. This was one of my pet peeves. I hated it when I seen one of these cords that was twisted up. And there was some people that simply didn't care, especially when they had the really long cords. I hated it so much, I'd actually spend the time to unravel somebody's phone cord. On the other hand, it really wasn't worth it. You should have just threw it in the trash and put a new one on, because back then, you always had a spare phone cord in a drawer somewhere. But first, let me take a selfie. That is actually what it looks like. Text your mom and ask how long it takes to microwave a 25-pound turkey. You know what the sad part is, guys? I could absolutely see people doing this. They be trying to microwave a turkey for like 6 hours or something. Nothing surprises me these days. Matter of fact, it'd be surprising if somebody hasn't tried this. I think this right here is one of the best commercials that Ernest ever done. Watch this clip and let me know if you guys think that there was a commercial that was even better.
Hey, Vern, look what I found in my daddy's closet. You know, I bet you this is from the big one. You know, WW2. Boy, I bet them were some great times. I know, because I never miss Hogan's Heroes on WDBJ7. You know, with Schultz and Hogan and Commandant Klink. Hogan's Heroes. Weekdays on your hometown station. You know, Vern, this must be some kind of a cigarette lighter. I know nothing. I see nothing.
You have to walk through this to save your best friend. What do you do? I'd probably go to Walmart and buy a "My Condolences" card. But that's probably easier for me to say than most, at least these days. Remember when the ribs were so heavy they tipped over the Flintstones car, but the waitress was able to carry it by herself? Yes, I do, and I thought about that too. Here you go, guys. If you got any old Nintendo games left, you might want to go and see if you have Stadium Events. After spotting a copy of the rare NES Game Stadium Events at a Goodwill store, a woman bought it for $8, even though she only had $30 in her account. When she brought it to a used video game shop, they offered her the entire cash register for it. She declined and later sold it online for $25,000. I'm sorry, but there's no video game that's worth that. But if I had any of them, I would sure as heck try to sell it. The phones of our childhood. I actually do remember having a football phone at one point, but it was made different than that one. Where the stitches are, it had an actual receiver that you could pick up. Of course, it was the transparent phones that became the most popular. Every 80s kid has a photo with this exact letterboard. That is very true. They always use those. And the funniest part is when the teachers misspelled something, especially if they never noticed until the photos came out. Rickroll status. legend. That is a pretty good one. We still went to school in the 70s and 80s. While that is true, this is a really bad AI-generated image from best that I can tell. Either that, or the image was super low quality and somebody put it through an AI restoration image tool, because it can definitely do things like that too. When your parents took you to Sears for pictures in the 80s. I wonder how many miles they got for that one. Coming back to wood paneling, some Gen Xer has gone and done it. They went to the dark side and bought a Cybertruck. They did improve its looks though with that wood paneling wrap, at least as much as you're gonna improve the looks of a Cybertruck. Daniel Stern left Hollywood to raise cattle and live a quiet farm life, saying he'd only return for one thing: a true Home Alone sequel with Macaulay Culkin. I remember back some time ago that I saw a short video of him showing some of the sculpture work and stuff that he's done too. Talk about some dollar store Chinese knockoff toys here. This one's got a little bit of everything. You got RoboCop, Star Wars, Terminator, and now Iron Man. Here's a video clip that I came across of Bill Murray being interviewed about some things that happened on the set of Groundhog's Day.
Were you actually bitten twice by a groundhog during shooting of that film and had to get a rabies shot?
I'm not flipping you off, but that right there, that nodule there, that's from the groundhog.
I wasn't sure if that was something they were just throwing in to spice up the tour.
No, that's real. He got me back to back 2 days in a row. And the second day I was cheating, or I thought I was being smart. And I put some fisherman's gloves, like steel gloves on, underneath the gloves I was wearing. His teeth went right through the steel.
Wow.
Yeah, their teeth are about that long. Yeah, I got upset with the animal wrangler. I said, who the hell trained this gopher? You know, self-righteous actor stuff. Who in the hell trained this gopher? You know, with real rage, you know. I am not leaving my trailer. And so the two of them, they were like a guy and gal couple, and they look at each other with this. I said, what? Well, he's wild. Wild? What do you mean he's wild? Well, we caught him just over that way, over there by that field. We caught him there like 2 weeks ago. So I was driving the car with this, letting the animal drive. So, you know, you get what you pay for.
What do you miss? I miss the way I viewed the world before I knew too much about it. That's somewhat true. My wife, that won't work. Me after it works. Gen X, raised on hose water, sparklers, cigarettes, beer, rusty metal, fear, and neglect. Maybe so, but it was a heck of a lot better life than today. I came across this short a few weeks ago, and I think this would be absolutely hilarious.
Thinking about all the other things you could have made that could have been productive for society, but...
That is on the list of things I never knew I always needed. This would make the best Gen X party game. Imagine it, Gen Xers gathered around a life-size operation game at a party in someone's backyard or garage, the adult version of trash can punch. Everyone's a bit tipsy trying to steady their hand as they pick up the oversized tweezers, laughing about how it was supposed to be a relaxing night. That one friend not realizing they're a little bit too slammed and they still say something like, "I got it, I can do it." You can feel the buzz of anticipation mixed with a little bit of boozed-back bravado. Then the moment you accidentally touch the metal, the game shocks you, sending the jolt up your arm that makes you yelp, and everybody else is howling with a little bit of liquor-laced laughter. The shocks aren't painful, just enough to make you jump and spill your drink, though. The whole scene is chaotic, someone inevitably says, remember when this game was just for kids? And the rest of us are trying to think of other games that we can make life-size just like this for the next party. The combination of nostalgia, alcohol, and electric shocks turns into a simple game into a hilarious, slightly chaotic challenge where winning is less important than surviving the next jolt with your drink still intact. I wonder if they'd consider that for the next Gen X takeover.
What a predator sees after chasing me for 15 seconds. When you overhear some family secrets, and now things start to add up. That is true. How many of you guys have experienced this? This is a 19-year-old Prince Rogers Nelson in 1977. The photos were taken on the streets of downtown Minneapolis in front of the Schmidt Music Company building, which featured a well-known mural of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony on its side. Remember, Kevin McAllister could have phoned the police at any time. He was a child who had accidentally been left alone. One call, and he would have been safe. But it was never about safety. He was hunting those men. He wanted them to die. It was fun for him. He enjoyed it. Women in 1980. Women in 2026. An actual sign of the times. Yeah, that is true. With that said, if I had a stick shift vehicle still, I wouldn't want anyone else to drive it unless it was somebody I knew and knew that they knew how to drive a stick shift, because there's very few people today that does. MacGyver facepalm. Nothing is impossible unless you see him do this. I thought I'd throw this one in there, just in case some of you guys need an eye test. Society won't heal until we bring back colorful, transparent technology. Yeah, that mostly only gets sold to prisons these days. I once heard somebody say that Lucky Charms are just proof of how much dry cat food children are willing to eat to get half a handful of marshmallows, and I think about that a lot. Man goes viral by showing that his 1973 Chrysler was left almost intact after a modern car hit it. Yeah, that's no surprise. I remember the Buick LeSabre that my uncle owned. I believe it was a 1977 if I remember right, but this was around 2000 or so. He was driving through a big parking lot and another car T-boned him in the front fender. And on the LeSabre, basically all it done was just bowed in the front fender. But the other car was totaled. I think they hauled it off on a flatbed. He just drove his car on home. And I would say that some of these paintless dent repair places today could have probably pulled that right out. PG in the 80s. PG today. On some things, yeah, especially common sense. But it's also at the completely other end of the spectrum on other things. Usually things that I talk about on Sunday shows. Daniel Stern filmed Marv's spider on the face moment in Home Alone in a single take, silently screaming so he wouldn't startle the real tarantula crawling across his cheeks. Yeah, I was reading more about this, and he actually had to do that scream without making a single sound, and then they added it back later in post-production. Take me back to when Pizza Hut was like this. Good times. And good pizza, too. How 80s kids dealt with stress. No, more like just boredom. Especially when we were forced to sit quietly in class with nothing interesting to do. Before YouTube, this guy brought you cat videos. Yeah, back when Bob Saget brought us some of the same videos that first started YouTube. How parachute companies feel after realizing that it's impossible for them to get bad reviews. Well, maybe not directly from the customer, but they'll still have all the rest of the people in the industry scrutinizing them very closely. I told a teenager today I used to get 10 CDs for a penny in the mail. And I'm not sure if she thinks I'm lying about what a CD was, what a penny is, or what the mail is. Or all three. Probably all three, honestly. I love looking at the snow on Facebook from Florida. Well, I'm in Missouri, not Florida. However, I have to agree, I don't want to see any snow. All snow means is more work to do.
Well, hi there, fatties, and welcome to the Chub Club, the only TV show where we lose viewers by the ton. Well, chubbies, ready to lose a little lard?
Ready to lose a few tubes?
Let's start with a little exercise, shall we? Okay, chin up, chest out, deep breath, touching toes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
All right,
1,
take a hike.
2, ready, stop. Next exercise, leg lifts, okay? Lie down on the floor,
okay.
on your back, lift legs high up into the air, ready?
Yeah.
Lift, up.
Oh, you gotta be
Down, up, down, up,
I'm trying.
down. Very good. Everybody on your feet.
Oh.
Next exercise, running in place.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go. Ready? Run. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All righty. Can't you just feel that fat falling away?
Stranger Things 5 takes place 18 months after the 4th season. We're about to see a group of 30-year-olds tell each other stuff like, friends don't lie. Josh Brolin attended an 80s-themed costume party as himself in The Goonies. Somewhere between Apocalypse Now and The Matrix, let's remember that Lawrence Fishburne was Cowboy Curtis on Pee-wee's Playhouse in the 80s. I distinctly remember moms picking up kids from school in a dustbuster. Point of view: visiting grandma. Here's a short news clip about a school who called the police to have an 8th grader arrested because they used a $2 bill to pay for lunch. Why would they have him arrested for? Because not only did the people in the lunchroom not know that a $2 bill was real, they thought it was counterfeit, but apparently no other teacher, principal, or other official in the school knew that a $2 bill was real, and neither did the cops that showed up and arrested the kid. None of them knew it was real either. Now there's no way that there was none of these people that was only 20 or 30 years old.
8th grader charged with felony after paying for lunch with a real $2 bill. Denisha Neal, a 14-year-old 8th grade student at Krista McAuliffe Middle School in Houston, Texas, was accused of using counterfeit money after she attempted to pay for lunch with a $2 bill. I went to the lunch line and they said my $2 bill was fake, she said in an interview. They gave it to the police. They then sent me to the police office. A police officer said I could be in big trouble. Apparently they were unfamiliar with this rare yet completely legitimate form of currency.
I'm just wondering how high up the chain did it finally get before somebody realized that this was a false arrest. There should have been lawyers lined up at this kid's door begging him for this case, because they should have sued everybody at the school and the police too. That's beyond ridiculous. Today, my son asked what the T in T-shirt stands for. I did not have an answer. I never thought about it. Help us out, folks. Well, originally, T-shirts were just a white undershirt, something you'd wear under a dress shirt or whatever. However, as far as the name is concerned, my understanding of it has always been that the 2 short sleeves makes the top part of the T, and the body of the shirt makes the long stick part of the T. Do you guys have a better explanation?
I lost 180 pounds of ugly fat in just 1 week.
Oh, how'd you do that?
I divorced my husband.
No, I went on a new diet last week. I eat nothing but carrots 3 times a day.
Oh, how's it working?
Fine.
So as far as I'm concerned, being fat's all in your head.
I don't think it's all in your head.
And then she had the nerve to tell me that I was overweight. Can you believe that? Overweight? Isn't that the most absurd thing you ever heard?
People that get easily offended. My sense of humor. Yep, anytime possible. Remember me? Yes, I do. It was back in a time when the size that was printed on the shoe was actually the same size no matter which pair of shoes you picked up. Fun fact, Robert Stack refused to narrate an Unsolved Mysteries episode unless the scene involved fog, a trench coat, and he was behind an abandoned Long John Silver's. Someone just told me Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph looks like Joe from The Facts of Life. Now I can't unsee it. If you didn't know any better, you'd swear that they were brother and sister or something. I wonder if they actually are related some way. In 1993, a man named James Scott intentionally damaged a levee, causing a massive flood of the Mississippi River to delay his wife's return home so he could party with his friends. I'm not saying he's right, but I understand. I'm not even going to ask how one man was able to damage a levee that's on the Mississippi River to be able to cause that big of a flood, let alone his reasoning. OCD people, you have 4 eggs remaining. Which is correct? The only correct answer is A. Anything else is wrong, even though all the other ones are equally distributed for weight. A is still the correct one though. I use sarcasm at work because punching someone in their stupid face is frowned upon by management. Who I thought I'd be when I grew up. Who I actually am. Stop remaking 80s movies. Yeah, I have to absolutely agree. If they want to do anything, why don't they remaster them? Maybe clean things up a little bit here and there. Possibly enhance the special effects a little bit. And bring the video quality up to today's high-definition standards. Me when I first moved out of my parents' house. Heck, I mostly use paper plates even now. Dick Van Dyke says he still wants to play Scrooge at 99. I've still got time. As far as that movie goes, he'd probably be perfect for that role. Kids, this is what the phrase, the good old days, means. That is true. How many of you guys know that nicotine is actually a neuroprotectant? Now you know the real reason behind all the stop smoking campaigns. I guess people just thought the government really loved them that much. 20 years ago, the internet was an escape from the real world. Today, the real world is an escape from the internet. That's the honest truth. My desire to abandon technology. My desire for memes.
Attention customers, I have Brian here. He told his wife this morning that he had to go help his friend Matt put in a French drain today. The first problem Brian has is he doesn't have a friend named Matt. The second problem is his wife is now insisting that Matt come over for dinner. Brian is offering, how much you offering? Brian Brian is offering $100 cash to any man that's willing to be called Matt for about an hour. He also says you'll get free food and beer. If interested, please come up to customer service. Thank you. Oh, one last thing. Matt needs to be able to walk with a little bit of a limp. Brian says he'll cover all the details on the way to dinner.
The crushing disappointment you felt as a child when you opened Grandma's cookie tin just to find sewing supplies inside. I don't know how long it was before I opened one of these that actually had cookies in it. It looks like those Duke boys are in another tight spot. You can't let those impulsive decisions win. The real ones know. It amazes me that a phone cord back in the day could stretch from one room to another, but you can't get a USB cord to last a week. Ain't that the truth? Shout out to everyone that still remembers their childhood phone number, but can't remember a password you created yesterday. You are my people. Be honest, guys. How many of you actually have your passwords saved to a text file on your computer so you can just copy and paste them? And even then, at some point, the website will still claim that the password is incorrect, and you have to reset it yet again. The mayor in Jaws is still the mayor in Jaws 2. That's why it's important to vote in your local elections. I don't even know if those are real these days. I don't care who sang. This 1989 album was amazing. I don't know. Would you guys agree with this? You knew it was serious when Grandma brought out the Pyrex dishes and the smell of stuffing started sneaking into the living room. Yeah, my grandma always made homemade stuffing. How I feel when I have to scroll down to the year I was born. My mom still hasn't noticed.
He bailed out that number. Very nice.
Hey, Kermit, have you decided what you're going to do about Miss Piggy's big ballet number next week?
Yeah, Scooter, I'm afraid we're going to have to cut it.
but why?
Well, have you seen Miss Piggy recently? I mean, she's getting a little bulgy. You know, the pork no longer fits in the barrel.
Yeah, her wiggles are beginning to waddle a little.
Yeah, that's the way the old pork rolls.
Hello, Kermit.
Hi, Miss Piggy.
I have a wonderful announcement to make. I know it sounds silly, but I am going on a diet.
A diet? What a wonderful idea.
Yes.
How much weight do you plan to lose?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 5. 10. 10.
Yeah.
15.
Do I hear 20?
20 pounds.
Oh!
For my new ballet number.
Do you think she overheard?
Why do I gotta put a seatbelt on, but the garbage man can hang off the back of the truck? Because they made a law that says they can steal more money from us through tickets. That's the real reason. New orders for the Commodore 64 Ultimate Basic Beige are shipping out right now, guys. Your childhood just leveled up. The first official Commodore 64 in over 30 years is here. A faithful recreation of the original motherboard on FPGA hardware. Play 10,000 plus original games with more RAM and 48 MHz turbo mode. Currently on sale for $299, which is about what the Commodore sold for back in the day. If you know, you know. School really had us eating pizza with chocolate milk at 11 a.m. Yes, they did. And if we were really lucky, they might have even had it for breakfast, too. And I'm going to end today's show with this. This is just something I came across a few weeks ago, and I just thought it was funny. The original poop senders. Always fresh, always anonymous. And yes, guys, this is a screenshot from their real website. I took this screenshot myself, actually. And if you had some money to just throw away, this would actually be pretty hilarious. Especially the combo pack, Mega Pack. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe, and please share the videos if you'd like to see this channel continue, because YouTube certainly hasn't been trying. That's it for today's show, but I'll see you guys back here on Sunday's IDIOCRACY show. Until then, I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe this weekend. This is Akorn, over and out.